We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
With global pals, it's everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast Backstage episode. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Hi, everybody. How you doing? We've been busy, Ellen. It's been crazy, as the kids would say.
Exactly. That was my first thing to say. Apologies for not having an episode out the last couple of weeks, but we have just been crazy. You had a wonderful production of I Just Stopped By to See the Man with Black Theater Troupe of Upstate New York. Really beautifully done.
Thank you.
And
It was
yeah.
a lot. It was great. And you've been busy.
Yeah. I was working on a kids show, a ghost tour, and Christmas Story. Luckily, two of those things are done, so I'm just focused on Christmas Story now. But it's been crazy, which, well, let me first do our sponsorship, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about today. Because I want to let everyone know that we are.
And I'm going to fix my lighting. I look, man, wow, that was weird.
So yes, we are sponsored today by Harbinger Theater. They are bringing their 18th Capital Region premiere. It is Swing State by Pulitzer Prize finalist Rebecca Gilman. And here's a little plot. Recently widowed, Peg tends to the native plants in her 40-acre rural Wisconsin prairie backyard. Her solitary days interrupted only by visits from a family friend with a checkered past. When a mysterious threat alerts the authorities, a string of events unfolds that forever changes their lives. It is running at the Sand Lake Center for the Arts, which we say so many times on this podcast is not as far away as you think it is. It is directed
And they have great sweets.
They do.
The baked goods are fabulous, and so's the coffee.
It's great. It's a beautiful facility. It's directed by the excellent Brian Sheldon. It is running from November 14th through the 23rd. But if you go on the 13th, there's a free preview, and there's talkbacks on the 14th and 21st. Tickets are only $15. Get out there. Go see it. It's going to be great.
If you've never been to a talkback, treat yourself.
I love talkbacks. I live for them. When I was artistic director of Albany Civic, I implemented them because I said, I think it's great for the audience to see the behind the scenes.
Yeah. And you really get an opportunity to understand the process of how choices were made.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you've never directed a show, you don't really understand all the turns you can take based on not only your understanding of the character and the play, but the understanding your actors bring and the life experience and talent your actors bring.
Yeah.
So it is an ever evolving stew of creativity.
Yeah. And also to get that feedback to see if like what you were hoping the audience got. Did it land? Did they take something away that you weren't expecting?
It's fun, and I don't want to give away because we're when we're hitting, Ellen. When's this puppy going up?
This is going up on what's today? My brain is like, what week are we in? This is going up the 11th.
Okay, so my show will have closed, so I can give a little something away. There's a relationship. There's three characters in I Just Stopped By to See the Man: a father and a daughter who had been estranged, and a guy who shows up. And because of what transpires, the daughter has to leave. And as you recall, they don't hug.
Right. Yeah.
Someone say to me, but they should have. Why didn't they? And it prompted a whole discussion about the procession of their relationship or not through the show.
Yeah.
And I would love that the audience member was so involved to call that out. And they listen, they go, I get it. I just wish they had hugged.
I just wish.
Understood the choice.
Yeah.
And agreed with the choice intellectually. So it's interesting as we direct and when we perform, you're making both gut and intellectual choices.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And that sort of takes us to the doorway of the conversation I know you want to launch with us today, Ellen. It uses a lot of energy.
It does. Physically, mentally, stressfully,
Spiritually, sometimes.
spiritually. For sure. Yeah, yeah. And that's why, in all honesty, that's why we haven't had an episode in a couple weeks because we were so busy. And there's something called burnout that happens to everybody in every field, but it happens a lot in the theater. And this is why I brought it to you, Benita, today. I said, let's talk about burnout because I feel like lately I've heard of so many people who, professional and, community, who just said, "Ah, man, I'm just burnt out. I need to take a break. I'm taking a break." People who have been in the theater for years, all of a sudden saying, "Nope, I'm not doing anything for the foreseeable future." And
And the
yeah,
interesting part of that is when you do, and someone that you mentioned earlier was supposed to direct a show and stepped away because of life,
yep,
family, recognizes that, you carve out the time to direct a show, but the
hmm,
rest of the world doesn't stop.
yeah,
And birthdays and anniversaries, and just all kinds of stuff, even family feuds continue.
hmm,
But even when there's two parts to the burnout, and it's funny, I said to Ellen, I just wrote about it. It'll appear right for the Times Union every week in the Live Smart section. And that's what I wrote about. And I run a women's, it turns out it's women's, men could come, but a group coaching, if anybody's interested. Mondays, $25 in Clifton Park. There, I did my spiel. But we talked about, because this 4 weeks is about thriving through the holidays. And the first thing we did was talk about burnout. Long lead up to, even when you recognize you're burned out, and we'll talk about symptoms, and you step back, there's a whole issue about stepping back.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And I think too, with this field, it's so unique in that it's burnout in a regular 9 to 5 job. It's very different. Whereas in the theater, you have a job, but it only lasts so long. So while you're in that job, you're constantly looking for the next one and you're auditioning or applying or designing or, thinking about that next project. And that takes a lot of mental capacity while you're currently doing the thing. And it's always this like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Which I think puts so much pressure on feeling like you can't take a break and that you have to keep moving because if you stop, then people are going to forget who you are or you won't make those connections or you'll burn bridges. And I think there's this unfair pressure that a lot of people in the theater put on themselves,
Yeah,
feeling like they can't take a break.
we do put it on ourselves. And the first thing, first of all, burnout is not benign.
Mm-hmm.
It can raise your risk of heart disease and diabetes.
Hmm. Wow.
Old health reporter, but it can. It takes the color out of your life. You end up with headaches and insomnia. And we know that the sweet spot for sleep is 7 to 9 hours. And somebody's groaning out there that for me to get 7 hours is, but that's the sweet spot for heart health,
Yeah.
which becomes part of. When we're burned out, we may find ourselves, if you're so inclined, to relying more on alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
not doing exercise, all the things that help us relieve stress and feel good about ourselves. So it's twofold, where
Mm-hmm.
it's not only cooking us, and that's what happens with stress. When we're stressed, our bodies don't know the difference between being chased by a bear 200 years ago
Uh-huh.
or, oh my God, I got to get the set together, all that stuff. So our bodies respond the same way. We go into flight or fight mode. We dump
Mm-hmm.
cortisol and adrenaline,
Yeah.
and they're inflammatory. See how the phone type one. Inflammation raises the risk of heart disease. Too much cortisol raises the risk of developing belly fat. Belly fat is more inflammatory than hiney fat. It goes on and on.
Yeah.
And Ellen, because we've talked to friends, so many, in an airplane, they tell you put your mask on first.
Right.
And we seem to think in theater, no, I'll put it on after, I'll take care of you. But if you're dead, you can't take care of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's that sense of like I have to be here for everybody, and if I don't, I'm letting down the whole project, the whole team. I'll share that really wonderful person in the community was supposed to stage manage for me a while back and was lined up for several months. And then when we got about a month before the project started, uh, contacted me and said, "I'm so sorry, Ellen. I've just had so many projects back to back to back to back that I just think I really can't do this. I need to take a break." And as much as a bummer it was to lose him on that project, because I love him, still do, I couldn't commend him more for making that choice and recognizing that he needed to do something for himself. And I know that that was the right choice for him. And he's so much happier now and is like stepped back and, worked on some priorities and worked
You
on
know,
himself.
right. We talk about one of the things to help prevent burnout is to set boundaries and respect them because nobody's going to set them for you.
Hmm.
And people go, yeah, but how do I know what the boundary is? And my little litmus test is after you say yes, you go, oh God, why did I say yes?
Yeah.
That was a boundary you crossed.
Hmm.
So I encourage everyone, moi, to the reminder, before you say yes, say, let me get back to you.
That's great. Yeah.
And go home and think about it.
Hmm.
Have a conversation with, the others in your life.
Yeah.
Or just have a good talk with yourself and really look at your schedule. And the fact is, we all think you said in the beginning, Ellen, look, if you pause, I miss a step. If I pause, somebody thinks less of me. So this summer, I ended up having nothing. It's just
Hmm.
I was done by the end of June and nothing clicked. And I went, girl, back off. I knew what I had coming up in the fall and into the spring. I said, how about you just embrace the summer?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was great.
I bet.
Yeah, wow. I have to learn lines. I was responsible for everybody.
Hmm.
So it also becomes reconnecting with your self-worth outside of the external,
Yes. Hmm.
you know? Have
Yeah.
you ever found yourself in a situation where you've had to say, no mas?
Um, so I'm terrible at saying no, and it's something that with age and experience, I think I'm getting better at. It's hard though. I know recently, I was offered something that I really wanted to do with a company I haven't had a chance to work with. I've been wanting to with people I wanted to work with, and it was in between two projects I already had lined up. And I looked at my schedule and I think I knew. I was like, there's, I was like, it's too much. I can't squeeze this in. And in sending the email with my conflicts, I think subconsciously I was basically saying no, but I couldn't just blatantly say no. And luckily, they looked at it and said, "It sounds like it's too much. We'll work together another time." And it was such a relief to get that feedback. And I realized I was like, yeah, they weren't angry because they know that I've got other stuff going on. And even if
And
it
if,
wasn't shows, just life, to be doing other things in my life is important.
and if they were angry, wouldn't you consider ever working with them?
Right. That's the thing. Yeah. And that's something in my life that I've really noticed a change. I think since I've had kids and, I've a lot more responsibility at home, that I've become a lot more selective in the projects I join. I don't say yes to everything because I think about the huge time commitment it is. I mean, I am a full-time mom. I do this podcast. I do voiceover work. I teach at two different universities. There's a lot juggling in my life, and so to commit, that I'm going to work like a whole day and then go to rehearsal and come home and probably have to work more. And like that's my life, just work, 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 work. Do I want to do that? Is that show worth that much of my time and energy?
Mhm.
And so, it is like, what are who are the people I feel respected by? Who respects my time? Um, where do I feel supported and part of a good team and it's a positive experience all the way around. And if I'm not sure it's going to be that, then I say, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm going to pass.
I get it. There's a company that I always loved working with, but it's a long drive.
Yeah.
It's 74 miles.
Ooh.
And despite the fact being equity and that I get a contract, they have told equity, oh no, she doesn't want housing. They
Mm.
never asked. And when I found myself pulling off to the side of the road and going to sleep so I could make it home,
Yeah.
that's when I said, no matter how much I love them and I respect them and the work they do, and there were things that they were doing that I would love to have been part of,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say no.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's about your safety. Let's face it, it's really not safe for anybody to pull off on the side of a highway and go to sleep.
No.
And I did that. I can tell you where, yeah, if you need to know where to, I'm your girl. And you miss some things. It's a song is coming into my head about this. It'll come to me. I'm getting you a flash. You know, there are some things you miss, but other things you get that are so much sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's often hard to see the tomorrow for
Yeah.
what you have in front of you right now. But the door you gently closed for the moment on the project you shared just now, Ellen, may have opened doors to other things that will bring you so much more self-satisfaction and growth.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I know
And
I shared yesterday my I was playing with my daughter and all of a sudden she got up and started walking away. I said, "Where are you going?" She goes, "I have to go to rehearsal. I have a show." I was like, "Oh no. Oh no." That's what my kids equate to me.
and
Yeah.
that, but that's become, she's learned that as a response to an excuse for leaving.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At
Yep.
least you didn't say, I'm going out to kick the dog, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but there's time and I love doing Christmas Story. It's wonderful, but if it ran through Christmas, I probably wouldn't do it because, for my priorities, the holidays are really important to me and the fact that it closes before Christmas and I can spend that time with my family is great, but I know, all these touring shows, people perform straight through on Christmas Eve and all that and that's a great if that's they're comfortable with that and that's their choice, that's wonderful. But I know for myself, that's a boundary that I'm not willing to give up on those moments in my life.
I thought about, there was a show, a touring show that I thought about auditioning for. I had as good a shot as anybody else, you know? And
Hmm.
I didn't because I didn't want to be home, away from home that long.
Yeah.
I kind of like my husband.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to perform an hour or two or three away.
Hmm.
It's another thing to be performing a different show, different city every day, every week. It's an, and you have to know yourself. That's really the essence of this. You've
Yeah.
got to know yourself. What's the boundary? What line, if you cross, won't serve you?
Hmm.
And having those honest conversations with yourself, it's like delving into a character. You got to look in the mirror and really know who you are.
Hmm.
It doesn't, it's not good, bad, or indifferent. It just is. So
Yeah.
some people are like, put me on the road, pops, you know? And
Yeah. Some people
right,
thrive in that setting,
right.
which is
Look,
great.
let's face it, you're never doing toilets. You know, there's something to be said to that, Ellen.
Yeah.
But we really have to. I'm so glad you suggested we talk about this because I'm looking at another show now that I might be able to wedge in behind two other things.
Hmm.
Got to think about that.
Yeah.
And there's an audition I could go on, and it sounds great, but what if I am the one?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to cut into something else I've already got planned.
Yeah.
So the fact is, I think perhaps more in theater than in other walks of life, we're always juggling
Mm-hmm.
potentials.
Yeah.
And how do you rate them? And then how do you not have a case of the gosh, I wishes?
Yeah. I mean, and then on the flip side of it, right? When you are in those in between moments, that's stressful for mental health too, of, oh my gosh, when am I going to work again? What's my next project? And if that break becomes very long, it can, that can cause all sorts of other stress that's opposite of burnout, right?
So
It's
to
yeah.
that end, perhaps when we are in the break is to enjoy it,
Yeah.
to recognize that there is a season for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're concerned that you're going to get rusty, lose an edge, maybe that's the time to take a class,
Yeah.
whether it be an acting program or voice or dance, and if any of those are things you haven't done, to explore them. But rather than look at it as a time when, oh my God, what am I going to do? Rather than, oh, how wonderful, I have a chance to try something new.
Yeah.
Maybe volunteer, and we need the break. So I'm not even going to say volunteer your time to work on somebody else's show. Take the time, unless, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes long, then volunteer. But
Yeah. Enjoy the quiet.
self-care is not selfish. We confuse those terms.
Yes.
I
Oh,
contend the
yes.
most selfish thing you can do is not engage in self-care because then you're not bringing your 100%.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. I don't want to work with someone who's burned out. They're just stressed and not finishing something or committing 100% because they just can't.
Have you've worked with someone like that, I'm sure.
Oh,
We all
yeah.
have.
Oh, yeah.
It's not nice, is it?
No. Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard because you want to be there and have this very supportive and equal commitment to something. And then when someone is just unable to because they've reached that point where they physically and mentally cannot, then it's hard because you feel empathetic to them, but also you can't create a project when someone's only 1 foot in.
And sometimes there's a lot of hollering.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for that. I'm an adult. Please don't holler at me.
Oh yeah. That's my number one thing now. It's like if there's any anger or egos in a project, I'm out. Yeah.
Check it at the door.
Yeah. So as a health coach, what do you say? What are the warning signs of burnout and what can you do to help yourself?
Being short, nothing is really satisfying you. You don't sleep well. You sleep too much, you sleep too little. It's like depression. You eat too much, you eat too little. Headaches, stomach aches, rash.
Mm,
Sometimes there are physical manifestations of it. Weight gain for some people.
hmm
Again, because you're not eating to serve you. These are all sort of the hallmarks of them. And it's when nothing is bringing you joy.
hmm
And that's a hard one to acknowledge. But if you know that normally this would lift your spirits and it doesn't, but it's that, so and fatigue, that's another one, fatigue and weakness. I talked about the disturbed sleep patterns. I'm not talking about waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because you're perimenopausal, but um, the physical stuff. And the other thing I missed was getting sick.
Yeah.
Because we're stressed and we're dumping the cortisol and the adrenaline, they depress our immune system.
hmm
So if you have the good fortune to be in contact with somebody who's shedding virus, you've depressed your immune system, you're going to get sick. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to take a look at that stuff, which is also sometimes why you ever been stressed out and then once it's all past, you get sick.
Yeah.
That's why you have been living in this state for so long that your immune system is beat up. I mean, it's really important to take the breaks, to laugh.
Yeah.
Laughter is really important. It boosts you. Lifts us. It boosts our immune system. The other thing, Ellen, sometimes it's cognitive. You ever been really stressed and you can't memorize your lines?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Part of the burnout syndrome is the
Mm-hmm.
cognitive dissonance from burnout. Um, and and then it's that feeling like a failure,
Yeah.
incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
You put all that together and you got burnouts too. And you don't have to have it all. It could just be a couple of these things
Mm-hmm.
that really get you. So you really have to be aware of them and then back up.
Yeah.
And if you can't walk away immediately, you've got to be able to find the time to recharge. It's like your gas tank. You can't, what happens if you drive and you don't put gas in the tank?
Mm-hmm. Be stuck on the side of the road.
Right. My Roomba just started. If you hear it, let me know. I'll get it turned off. With the dog, it's the best thing in the world. See, this helps me with burnout. And that's the other thing is asking for help.
Yes.
You can't do everything. And if you
Mm-hmm.
think you can, you have really set yourself up for burnout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And asking others is giving them a vote of confidence. So we boost them and then they feel good and they're more likely to want to reach out and be part of your team.
Yes.
So when do you open?
We opened December, I want to say 4th. Is that? Yes. December, or is it the 3rd? Hold on.
It's
Yeah,
around the
the
corner. You
3rd.
see?
It is very soon, which has been so surreal because it's if people don't know on the podcast, this is I don't want to call it a remount. It's not a remount, but we did A Christmas Story with Playhouse Stage last year, and a great number of the adults are back. And some of the kids are back, but they're all in different roles. So it's been really fun, and it's been treated like it's its own production. We're not just, cookie cutting it. That's the phrase. Um, but it's interesting because the choreography is 80% the same, but because of that 20% difference, it's very interesting. I've never remounted a show, and the muscle memory is really hard to fight. Like I did this show for how many performances last year, and now it's like, oh, instead of turning to the right now, you're going to turn to the left. And my
Oh,
brain
I get it.
is
Listen, I did
exploding.
Steel Magnolias up at Fort Salem.
Yes.
And we closed, and about 10 days later, I got a call. They needed a Malin, the role I had played at Upstage in Catskill. Sure. Except everything I was blocked to the right was now to the left.
Exactly.
Took me 2 days, and I'm like, really, I know the lines. Seriously. Because we learn physically too. So
Yeah, I mean your body's just used to this is the way I do it. Yeah, but it's been great and it's really fun to see the new energy of a slightly different cast, and yeah, it's going to be a great time. Tickets are flying, so get them soon.
make like you're in Albany, buy early, buy often.
Yeah.
This has been great. If you've got comments, thoughts on how you have dealt with your burnout, how you recognized it, what's helped you, drop us a note at Everything Theater. We're on Facebook, we're on Insta, and we'd love to hear from you. Share some of that stuff coming up. We've got a couple of great guests in the pipeline. So at the moment, I'm a little freer, so I can match with Ellen's because then I get into rehearsals. I'll start casting. We've got rehearsals. I'm doing The Roommate at Albany Civic.
Yeah.
Uh, so, are you auditioning?
No, I've already got a show lined
Oh,
up.
that's right. But ladies, it's only a two-person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good. It's been great, Ellen. It's a delight. I hope you all enjoyed, learned a little something. Take care of yourself. We rely
Yes,
on you.
absolutely.
Give
Couldn't
them
have said
one
it
more
better.
hit for the upcoming Harbinger.
Yep, go see Swing State, running from November 14th to the 23rd with that free preview on the 13th at Sand Lake Center for the Arts. It's going to be another fantastic Harbinger show.
Bravo. Go get them. Thanks for spending time with us today. I'm Benita Zahn.
And I'm Ellen Cribbs. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything, everything.